Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Mallorca once again, and this time we're going to have a look at a proper craft beer. The Rosa Blanca that I reviewed for you before was more of a kind of macro beer if you like, but for this one we are going to go to Cerveza Ralf for the first time, and we're having a look at their Tuareg today, which is a pale ale, an American style pale ale coming in at 4.8% ABV. So really curious to see how this turns out. It says that it's dry hopped with Cascade, so I'm guessing that this might be a kind of quite old school type American pale ale. So very curious to see how it turns out, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Big thank you to my friend Hannah once again, who was down in Mallorca doing a little dancing sort of workshop type thing. She brought these beers back for me, so yeah, big thank you to her for making these possible. As I always say, it's cool to introduce you guys to different beers from different places. So yeah, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do from Cerveza Ralf in the future. I do have one more of their beers to try, and we'll see if we can get more beyond that. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Spanish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Cerveza Ralf then, on to my brewery notes. So Cerveza Ralf are based in the little village of Maria de Salut on Mallorca, and it's kind of in the eastern part of the island if you like, but Mallorca of course one of the Baleric islands off the east coast of Spain. But this company was founded by German Ralf Breda, who trained in brewing and malting in Hamburg and Bremen back in Germany, and he's joined by a Mallorcan partner, Ruon van Rel. So Ralf is from Hamburg originally, and he worked for the Elbschloss brewery in Hamburg and also for periods for breweries in Japan and Spain, but he's now lived in Mallorca for about 20 years and he's been brewing under the name Cerveza Ralf since 2016, and apparently the name came from the people in his local town just calling his beers Ralf, Cerveza Ralf, and this is where it came from. But so he felt that he couldn't change it, and he just thought that, you know, it's quite a nice name actually. So one of the other breweries, from what I understand, gave him a really good deal on some brewing equipment, and at the moment they're producing around 20 hectolitres per year, and as of November 2019, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced 3 different types of beers. They've got this one here, the American Pale Ale, they've got an Amber Ale as well, which you'll see me review, and there's also an IPA that is only available on tap actually. They haven't bottled that one yet from what I understand. But yeah, that was all the information I was really able to find out about this brewery. So hopefully we see more from them over the next little while. From what I understand, there's maybe about 5 or 6 different little breweries over on the island of Mallorca. So hopefully I can get down there and check it out sometime. I've never been to Mallorca, Menorca or Ibiza, to be honest. I've never been to mainland Spain. I've been down to Tenerife and the Canary Islands, but other than that, Spain is a little bit of an unknown entity to me. So hopefully I can get to the likes of Madrid and Barcelona and have a little look around at some point, and maybe out to the Baleric Islands as well, who knows. But definitely cool to try another very small craft brewery from Spain, and the Spanish beers, in my opinion, tend to be pretty damn good actually. It seems to be a bit of a rule when it comes to countries that are very good at wine, that if they try their hand at beer, they always do pretty good, and when you've got a German brewer involved in this one, I think this one will be a pretty damn good beer actually. So yeah, as I say, that's all you really need to know about Cerveza Ralf for the moment. If you want to learn more, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages as well to see all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer then. So as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 4.8% American Pale Ale. The name Tuareg, I think it comes after something local, but I'm sure I read in one of the articles that he lets the locals actually name the beers that he produces. But yeah, 4.8% American style Pale Ale, this one, hopped with Cascade. It just tells you a little bit about the ingredients on the side here. So yeah, it says Cerveza Antonio Maria de la Salut Mallorca. So yeah, interesting. 330ml bottle, this one. Best before the 20th of July 2020. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. A plain golden bottle cap on this one, incidentally. So yeah, seems to have behaved itself. Sometimes these beers don't. Just a little bit pouring its way out there, but we'll get it out and into the glass. There's a little bit of sediment at the bottom of this one, so I'm thinking it is bottle conditioned, but it does seem to have behaved itself. So yeah, that's quite nice. So yeah, as you can see with this one, and as you would expect from a pale ale, this one's poured. It's actually quite hazy, to be honest with you. Does it say whether it's got oats and stuff in it? I don't think so. I don't know whether this will be a more I'm assuming if it's a German, since Ralf Brede is German, I'm guessing it will be more of a sort of West Coasty type pale ale this rather than a New England, but in fairness it does look pretty hazy actually. So you can see there's a solid 2/3 finger of a frothy, I would say slightly cream coloured head rather than perfect white, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and in terms of colour I would say this one's quite an orangey, murky type thing. If I put my fingers behind the glass you can see that there is a degree of haze to this beer, but overall not out with the realms of possibility in terms of what you would expect from a pale ale these days. Quite a nice looking beer, I have to say. So yeah, let's take a look at that aroma then and see how we get on. Nothing overly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance. Yeah, so yeah, with this one straight away, what you're going to notice with the malt base, it comes across as very smooth. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, you know, something like Weirmann malts from Bamberg or something like that. It's got that typical kind of German smoothness to it, but at the same time there's a little bit of a kind of caramelly and biscuity note to this beer. So there might be a little bit, yeah, caramel or caramunich or something there. There is something almost Munich-like in this beer. It almost has a little bit of just that German bready smoothness, like I was saying. I really like how that malt base comes out actually. I've always said in my reviews I love it when the malt really balances well with the hops actually. There's some pale ales and things that you were getting when I first started reviewing the channel, they just blasted the beer with hops and did a pale malt base rather than kind of playing around with malts and stuff like that, and for me that's a bit boring. So you can tell with this beer straight away the malty notes are quite nice in this. So a little bit of bread, a little bit of a kind of more almost pilsnery malty type quality to the beer, and some biscuit, and maybe even a little bit of a sweeter caramel actually. So yeah, so for me, hoppy side of things then, you've got a nice little bit of floral character to this one. The cascade in this is very distinctive, and it's the slightly grapefruity and almost kind of, you get a little bit of an almost figgy, berryish note out of Cascade as well, but you've got a nice, quite bright floral character in there. I mean, Cascade is the original Yakima Valley hop. I think it's around 8% alpha acid, whereas, you know, the Hallertaus, the Tettnangers and the Kent Goldings and stuff, a lot of the sort of old school hops, if you like, are you know, sort of around the 5, sometimes 6% mark. So yeah, this one, the Cascade is a very, very old school hop that works out. It comes across really nicely. I mean, one of my favourite beers back in Scotland, the Schiehallion Lager, that was a Cascade Pilsner, basically, and it's a beautiful beer that I still enjoy that to this day. Cascade is just really a very nostalgic hop for me. So to me, this one comes across like a very nostalgic beer, almost a little bit like the Sierra Nevada Pale, but I think a little bit more bready and German-like in its kind of aroma. So I think that's maybe a good way to kind of describe this one. A little bit like the Sierra Nevada Pale, but just a little bit more kind of Munich Hellesy like in its malt base, if that makes sense. So yeah, and obviously you've got to watch that because you'll have ales and you've got lager beers, top fermenting and bottom fermenting beers. But yeah, this one most definitely an ale, but some of the way the malts come out is almost a little bit kind of like a Munich Helles or something. So yeah, take a bit of time and just enjoy that aroma before you have a taste of the beer. I'm really curious to see how this turns out, because the new generation of German craft brewers that are trying the American beers now, they tend to be really pretty good at it actually. Frau Gruber being a prime example, of course, Canva, Bavaria, Genstaller, and all of this. There's some really good new generation brewers in Germany now. But let's have a taste of this one then and see how we got on. This one is the Tuareg, an American Pale Ale at 4.8% from Maria de la Salut on Mallorca in the Baleric Islands in Spain. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål, Prost, Salut. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. I mean, it comes across, it actually has a little bit of an almost, it has a little bit of an almost kind of homebrewed feel to it actually. I wonder if it's maybe like US05 or like Safal or something that's been used as the yeast strain in here. There is something that's a little bit, you know, those are very popular yeasts when it comes to home brewing and stuff. There is just something about the kind of yeasty qualities in this that's quite distinctive. That it reminds me of the beers that my friend home brews actually. But I'll tell you something, this is really quite nice. It is like a proper kind of old school kind of pale ale, this actually. This is solid. I mean, this gets a thumbs up for me. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. It really is. It's well done, this. But I mean, when Ralf Brede is a brewmaster, a German trained brewmaster, you're not really going to expect a bad beer, are you? That's nice. So yeah, first impression of it is a nice big sort of thick bready pale ale, but definitely has some of that nice hop bite that you like from the American style beers. It's a little bit old school in how it comes across actually, but I do like that about it. So yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit then. In the middle of your palate, you've got a nice sort of bready malt base there. That just blankets the middle of the tongue. Just by the way those flavours are coming out, I wouldn't be surprised if this is Weyermann malt or something. I'm not sure if there is Spanish malt, but I mean, most of the malt that is used by craft brewers in Europe tends to be German or something similar. Sometimes there's a bit of English malt, Maris Otter and stuff like that. But this beer has a lovely kind of nice big bready smoothness. As you move further into the centre of your palate, it gets a little bit more biscuity and caramelly. Right in the centre of your tongue it is quite sweet and quite caramelly, and as you move further out you get a little bit of a kind of biscuity grainy thing, and you can feel the malt base as well just drying out a little bit the further you go into the aftertaste with this one. But as it does that, it's kind of around the edge of the palate that it does that. In the middle of your tongue it really does stay quite sweet actually, which is nice. I mean, it's interesting the way the flavours in this beer interact with each other. But I will say, yes, it is well done. There is an element of nostalgia about this beer for me. It really reminds me of some of the IPAs the IPAs and pale ales that I was trying, you know, back in sort of 2014 and things like that. There's definitely a bit of an old school kind of thing about this. And what I was saying about the aroma as well, that it has a bit of that kind of German sort of breadiness to it. I would actually even go further with that. I mean, the German beers, the lager beers you get in Germany and the lager beers you get in the Czech Republic. The Czech ones they're similar in terms of flavour profile, but the Czech ones are distinctively more bready, and for me this one's almost got the same level of breadiness that you would expect of a Czech beer rather than a German beer in my opinion. But I like that, I do like that anyway. But remember, this is an ale, it's not a lager beer. But it comes across really nicely, this. There's something really old school about this. I would be curious to know about the yeast strain, whether it is like US05 or like Safal or something like this. That's the other one. But yeah, nice. I like that malt base in this beer. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate you've got a little bit of earthiness there, but it's quite minimal actually. Not too dark or anything like that, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, the earthiness smoothens out a little bit. You get a good little bit of floral aromaticity at the front corners of the palate, and then around the very front curve of the tongue it's just that little bit lighter and grassy in my mind. And then behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. And for me, it's, you know, it's typical kind of cascade. If you go to the back of that oily bubble, there's a little bit of that darker grapefruit, and it kind of brightens up a little bit and becomes a little bit sweeter as you come further forward on the tongue. I mean, could it be a little touch like figgy or something? I don't know. But the Cascade, I mean, it's a beautiful hop to use as your base hop in like black IPAs and things like that. It's still a very well respected hop actually, even though it's the first kind of high alpha acid. It's 8% or something like that, but these days you've got things like Enigma from Australia and Galaxy, which are 13-14% alpha acid. I mean, the Cascade is still a really nice hop, and if you're trying a sort of more old school beer like this, it really is still very nice actually. But yeah, fruity side of things, bit of dark grapefruit towards the back of that oily part, and then further forward it just gets a little bit more kind of figgy or something like that. It's maybe even a little teeny bit orangey or something like that, I don't know. Yeah, it's almost a little bit kind of sharp or something at the front of the tongue too. There's a little bit of a kind of grassy sort of, it's almost a little touch limey, come to think of it. There's almost a little bit of a limey flavour that goes into the aftertaste there as well. But I mean, in terms of flavour profile, this one is pretty nice. Like I say, it's a bit like a sort of classic American pale ale, this one, but a little bit more bready than other ones that you're going to come across. But considering that the brewer is German, and you know, German beers do tend to have that little bready element to them, you can kind of understand that actually. You will find a lot of the new generation of craft brewers in Germany brewing things like this, which turn out really nicely as well. But yeah, this beer gets a thumbs up from me, and as I say, I wouldn't hesitate to drink that again. I need to go to Mallorca and try a few of the other craft breweries as well. It seems to be that there's a fair community of Germans on Mallorca brewing beer as well. I'm sure that I read in one of those articles that there was a brewery called Bier König or something like that, the Beer King. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, this beer's fairly mid-bodied. It's actually a little bit heavy for a pale ale, to be honest, in terms of its body. Yeah, nice and a little bit of a thick, one of the thicker pale ales you're going to come across. There's a little bit of carbonation to this, but not overly much. I mean, it comes across, there's a bit of an oily character in there. It's got a little bit of a wetness to it as well. Nice, smooth, kind of white bready things there. A bit of sweetness in the malt base as well, so the malt base is well balanced between smoothness and sweetness. A little bit of hoppy bitterness. I think we're talking, what, about 30 IBUs, maybe 40 IBUs, something like that. Yeah, probably more like 40. It does have a little bit of bitterness, come to think of it, and a nice little bit of a kind of juicy, fruity sort of thing to it as well. So so yeah, interesting beer, this one. If you get the chance to try this, have a go at it. I've just noticed there actually it says 45 IBUs, so 40, I wasn't too far away, that's fair enough. But yeah, a really interesting beer, this one. Cool to try my first craft beer, if you like, from Mallorca. And hopefully it's not the last one. You will see another one from Cerveza Ralf in a few videos' time, because I've got their amber ale to look at as well. But I hope you've enjoyed this first visit to them. Definitely cool to try another sort of almost German take on the American pale ale. So I'm getting these little fruit flies again. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, and we'll catch you guys very soon. So as always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Cerveza Ralf as well, and I'm sure we'll return to these guys at some point in the future. Let me know some other Mallorca craft breweries that I should look at as well, and hopefully I can get out there to visit at some point. But thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon. The Tuareg American Pale Ale at 4.8%. from Cerveza Ralf in Maria de la Salut in the eastern part of Mallorca on the Baleric Islands in Spain. Slàinte, skål, prost, salut. Cheers.